Welcome to Eye on the Illini. This is Mike Cagley. We've got another of our Illini basketball legends series here. This time, we're getting one of the more shy and retiring Illini legends. We're going to have to draw him out of his shell. Um, we have Marcus Griffin on. So you had one year of Lon Kruger, 1 year of Bill Self. Marcus, you had a heck of a career. You came in, played 2 years at University of Illinois. You played JUCO ball for a couple years, and you guys won 4 for 4 on state titles at Peoria.
Yep.
I, Tell me, in everyday life, you're working sales. How do you use some of those lessons that you learned in athletic competition to help you in your job in the real world?
Well, practice every day is not going to be given to you. So you got to go out, whatever you want in life, you got to go out and get it. Like, as you know, parents took care of you, but as you got older, you got to go get it yourself. And so that's one of the that's the main lesson that I learned from younger. If you want to be great, it takes days, it takes hours of commitment in the gym every single day. Same as profession. Whatever you decide that you want to grow up to be in, you got to be willing to put in that work every single day. Be the hardest working person in the room. You don't have to be the smartest, but just be willing to outwork everybody. And so that's what I try to do. Some days I feel short, but if I come back the next day with that same attitude that I still want to grind, I still want to get better. I have a mind that I always want to get better. I hope that into the day I die, that every single day that I wake up, that God gives me opportunity to breathe, that I'm still trying to learn information to better myself. So those lessons, just working hard, trying to outwork people, and always having a mindset of wanting to gather more information was just a couple of lessons, especially on the basketball court. I always wanted to understand X's and O's a little bit better because that can help me out on the basketball court, help me in trying to gain the proper position as an undersized big man going up against 7 foot, 280-pound young men. So, but yeah, those are some of the lessons that I learned.
So let's go back and talk
Back.
about
Let's
back.
go.
I'm talking back. That high school experience where
Yeah.
you guys won 4 straight titles at Manual, incredible streak. Did you guys feel the pressure like by your junior year and then by your senior year, like, oh my gosh, we got a chance to do something that's just incredible? Or was it just, hey, we're playing ball, that's what we do? How did you guys keep focused to put together such an impressive 4 year run?
To be honest, I think it started with our summer league, like our summertime. We was in the trenches in Manual every single day. We was playing up against some of the best former players, from a David Booth, from a Howard Nathan, from a Clint Ford, from a Brandon Hughes, Ivan Watson, Willie Coleman. Going up against them every single day in practice, we knew that we was not playing against nobody else that was better than them in the state. That was what we was going up against. Like, we have pro level talent in Clint Ford, just to name a few names. We have pro level talent coming into our high school gyms every day. Like, we did not take a day off, where other schools probably in the mid days of June and August, where was we? We was in the gym sweating our butts off because Manual did not have any AC. It was 5,000 degrees. You get that one big fan in the corner of the door, but we was just grinding every single day. Like, we was taking it, and I would say our senior year, when I think against the World West, I think that was the team that we played in the championship. That was probably where you saw, because everything came down to like the last 3 minutes. You lose that game, the previous 3 years was for nothing. Like, you get to that last game and you like, we just got to get it done no matter what. And Serge came up with some big plays in the fourth quarter to close the deal.
I wrote a letter to back in the day to Jerry Jones, and I recommended that he find Sergio and get him to play tight end for the Cowboys.
Oh, that probably would have
It,
been a
it,
good look for
I don't
certain.
know where that letter ended up in Cowboy headquarters, but we know it didn't get to
Yeah,
Jerry
it didn't
Jones.
get because if it would have got to Jerry Jones, I'm pretty sure it would have got to Serge, and I don't know. Serge would have had to make some decisions.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting one. So you had this incredible career in high
Yeah,
school, and then you had to go to junior college for a couple years.
yeah,
Now, we talked earlier with Illini legend Eddie Johnson, and he talked about how he found out the hard way that being a parade All American, he still didn't play as much his freshman year because he had to hit the gym and
yeah.
he had to get stronger. And he just approached it like a business. When you had that disappointment of not being able to go to U of I right away, how did you handle that and keep yourself grounded in today? And instead of feeling sorry for yourself or letting something distract you from your goal.
Oh, I have I rest in peace, my mom, but I had a great supporting cast, and I knew what the overall objective was. Like if you have a board, and on the board you have the University of Illinois, and maybe you got a couple of bulletins below the board to let you know how to get to that goal. That's how I looked at it. At the end of the day, me, Serge, and Frank said we was going to play together, no matter what other opportunities that came up in between in between those 2 years. The object goal was to go to Illinois and play with them. So there was nothing, like there was absolutely nothing that was going to distract that. So, but I think I needed junior college because for the most part, when I was in high school, I was known as the person that's going to finish around the rim. I was known as the person that was going to dunk, block shots, run the floor. But in junior college, I learned how to score with my back to the basket. I really developed that game. And so when I came, I had two coaches that really, Mike Riley and Coach BJ McCullum, especially my freshman year. Mike Riley was like, Marcus, we're just going to give you the keys and let you go. And that's when I had to really develop 15-foot mid range, up and unders, drop steps, jump hooks over left and right shoulders. That's when I really started to work on my left hand. And so when I came to Illinois, that if you could remember, I was good going left or right over both shoulders. I can turn around over my left shoulder, turn around over my right shoulder. I can face up and attack, knock down a little 5 to 10 foot jump shot. And I learned all of that by going to junior college because even though it was Lincoln, we played up against some real good competition, and I put up great numbers because they depended on me, they counted on me, and you know that trust from a coach, that stamp that coach gives you, and like Marcus, I want you to just go get it. Okay, coach. And then I'm shooting 60% from the field, so you know I'm making almost every shot. It was just confidence that kept building, and before I got to Illinois, I just knew those guys was in a world of trouble.
And then you get there, and again, two of the better coaches in the history of Illinois with
Yep.
Kruger and Self. How do you compare them and contrast those two coaches? Because you're talking two guys with incredible resumes and incredible success. How are they alike and how are they different?
they're they're different in a way is that offensively, Coach Self, he let guys just go. He let guys go. And Coach Kruger, and maybe it's because we were so young, he wanted a little bit more structure for us. And then when Coach Self came, we was battle tested, going up against Michigan State, going up against Purdue. We had the right pieces already. He just wanted to unlock, release the chains. And so he released the chains. Frank excelled. I excelled. A lot of guys excelled because we felt like we could just go play and not think. Like it was just motion. Go.
Right.
Just make the smart play.
Was there any way they were similar?
They both was player coaches. They both was player coaches. You could call Coach Kruger. You could call Coach Self. Like right now to this day, Coach Self is still in the text message thread with us.
Wow.
Like he gets on the text message thread and he speaks to us still. Like a couple years ago, I went down and watched the Big 12 championship game, Kansas versus Texas on Kansas's floor. And so it's always been like that with Coach Self.
Yeah, that's fantastic. 23 years later.
Yep.
And
And I wore a Kansas shirt because I had a bunch of people with me. Yeah, I had a bunch of people with me, and they bought me a Kansas shirt. And they was like, Marcus, you better put this shirt on, or we're not bringing you back from the game.
I cannot imagine you succumbing, of all people, to peer
Hey,
pressure from what I know of you.
trust me when I tell you, if I was anywhere else, I was afraid to be stranded.
Yeah.
You know, I was not going to ever give in, but I was going to be stranded because it was three people else that had on Kansas shirts, and I ain't never wore that blue before in my life. And I kid you not, the day that I got that shirt was the last day I saw that shirt. That shirt was never seen or worn again.
Yeah, I had the same problem when I went to watch a Notre Dame game. It was the time that Rocket Ismail caught the tip pass against Michigan,
Ooh.
and I was there as a Big Ten guy, right? So I got a Michigan sweatshirt on, and that thing came off midway through the warm-ups because I don't know if I would have lasted through the game
No.
with that on. When we look at this team, people forget just how good both years you guys were. Excellent. You made it to the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm.
One of the games against Arizona, I was so angry. I think they called 543 fouls against you guys.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fouls. It was something that's probably that we've never seen since. And even though we played in the Big Ten, we can't find another game that we had that many fouls called against us in a Big Ten game.
Right.
And so it was like, I'm not gonna say some another coach put that in the referee's mindset. So when they came into the game, they was looking to call a lot of touchy fouls. But if this is how we played all year, and we've never had nowhere near that many fouls, that many players foul out, what has changed that now we're in the regional semifinals or whatever, the Elite Eight game, and now the refs calling 50 plus fouls against us? That when you think about it, that is just absurd.
Yeah.
Like that many fouls. Because a lot of people don't believe this, don't want to, but I feel like we was the best team that year. We played Duke until a landlocked. We beat Wisconsin, we beat Michigan State, we had beat Arizona. So we beat 3 of the 4 Final Four teams that year.
Yeah.
And then the only one that beat us was Duke, and they beat us by 3 points in Durham.
Right.
We was very confident. We was very confident. I also believe Arizona I don't believe Arizona should have been in our bracket. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Because if you give us the 1 seed, Arizona was not the worst 2 seed that year.
Right.
So that's a whole nother set of questions.
Yeah, Illinois has had some weird luck in NCAA tournaments, whether it's being forced to play at Kentucky to go to a Final Four, whether it's we can't look at this call to reverse it, whether it was you guys getting all those foul called, and Arizona, that's how they won their title over Kentucky a few years prior, was infinite amount of fouls on Kentucky. So that was a very frustrating game. That team probably doesn't get the respect that other Illinois teams get just because of the fact you guys made it to the Elite Eight. But boy, you were so close. And without the foul disparity, probably going to go to the Final Four.
That's the only reason we're not. And another thing, we was not the fun watching team because basketball was different 25 years ago.
Yeah,
we wasn't
right.
high flying. We was throw the ball off the backboard. We're going to physically beat you up. Our defense is going to be, staggering hard for you to score. And then we're going to out rebound you. We wasn't the fastest team, but we're going to hit you with 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot, 6'9", at our 3, 4, and 5 all game long. We're going to wear you down on the glass. And I think that's what separates us. When you start to compare other Illini teams to us, we got the guard play, we got the shooting, we got the size. And if you are an undersized team, you don't stand a chance because we're going to just throw the ball on the rim and say, we're going to leave one back, Frank, you stay back, and the 4 of us, we just go to the glass. Just go to the glass, beat them up, because for a 40-minute game, majority of the teams will not be able to handle the onslaught of offensive rebounding that we're going to hit you with.
And for folks who don't go to some of the Illini guy events that are out there, it's always interesting to watch when Marcus gets to go one-on-one with Kenny Battle on
that's my man.
On who the best team is in the history of Illini basketball.
You was there for that
I was
a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was, and that was fun. And then of course the rivalry ensued when D Brown showed up later on.
Yeah.
I got myself in a little bit of trouble because I agreed with you against the D and Darren, and that did not go over well with people. And then
I love those guys.
Oh no, they're great. All these teams are great. I mean, how many good memories do we have as Illini fans for what you guys worked for?
Those my brothers. I love D, love Darren. I love Darren, what he's done to catapult Illinois basketball, winning gold medals. I love everything that D stands for. That's my man, $100,000. But there's no way, and I absolutely mean no way, does that 05 team stack up with that 01 team. I'm sorry. They look good because they get out there, they shoot threes. D is the running fast break, and I give them all the props in the world. But they are undersized basketball team.
Yeah.
They are. And if we don't play to our strengths and we let it become a track meet, they're going to run us out the gym, because they're going to get out there and shoot threes and all that good stuff. But if you recall how we played, we didn't get ran out the gym that much because we played to our strengths.
Right.
We shot a good field goal percentage from 2. We shot a decent 3-point percentage, but we lived in the paint. And they would have to double team the 3, 4, and 5 almost every position because they wouldn't be able to play us man to man. They would have to double team, put help. And then that's when we take advantage of our perimeter shooting, because we still got Corey Bradford out there, who's probably the best 3-point shooter in Illini history. But don't forget, we got Sean Harrington coming off the bench. Then we got Frank, who could knock him down, Lucas Johnson, who could knock him down, Demir Kapalyer, who could knock him down as well. So, and then me, Cook, and Arch, and Serge, we're living in the paint all day long.
Yeah, I think that's a tough matchup. Now, the Flying Illini, they still don't have the inside, but boy, out on the wings, woof.
Their guards is something to match up with. They are big, they are long, they are athletic. Like, that will be a tough matchup for any team. They have pros at the 1, 2, and the 3.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how you look at it, and they're 6'5", 6'6", long, athletic, who could get off the ground, get off the floor. But what we got tough, hard-nosed guards, CB being from Memphis, Frank being from the P. We not backing down from no challenges ever. And so I would love to see it.
Yeah.
Those guards, because I feel like we can wear them down again on the glass, because we're going to come in waves. And we don't all need to play a lot of minutes, because our backups that's coming off the bench can produce as well. Robert Archibald can produce. Demir Kapalyer can produce. Lucas Johnson can produce. So it would just be can our size at the 3, 4, and the 5 control the game, or letting their guards, quickness, athleticism, control the game. That's what it'd be about.
Now, Eddie Johnson, of course, the man who really helped rebuild the Illini. There weren't a lot of guys coming out of Chicago. Audie Matthews came down, Levi Cobb, but Eddie came down, and all of a sudden you got a parade All-American there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his friends Mark Aguirre and Skip Dillard didn't have that unity that you guys had.
Man, we tried to, like, a lot of people don't even know what we tried to pull off at U of I. Like, we missed on 5 players.
And who are
Like,
those 5 players? Now we're interested in.
guys that went to DePaul, other schools, but we wanted Illinois to have all Illinois.
Yeah.
Because that's what we like. Even to this day, I wish that we can get back to the place that Illinois keeps their talent in home and in house, and I feel like we have enough talent in the state to compete with anybody.
Yeah, it's a challenge because the way recruiting has evolved.
Oh yeah,
Recruiting
is different now.
Yeah, the big schools can parachute in, but then when Brad Underwood and Orlando Antigua parachute in and get Will Riley.
Yeah.
And when other blue bloods are trying to get Will and he ends up going to University of Illinois, I feel like that's the first time, and maybe since Derek Harper and probably Kofi, that you go get somebody from outside and bring them in when everybody else wants them.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to give you Eddie Johnson's.
Let me hear this quote. Let me hear what he said.
Now, this is from a recent episode of Eye on the Illini. I'll give Eddie credit. He's always got an opinion, and he will back it. But he thinks the number 1 seed, Kofi and Io team, would be the best Illini team over the years.
You couldn't even get that out. You couldn't even get that out of your throat. Like, it choked you up even to say it out loud.
Well, I just needed some more.
That don't even
soda.
make sense. But is that the quote? Is that it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Kofi was a force. There's no doubt. At 7 foot and 285, 290.
Kofi was a monster. Kofi was a monster. But Kofi had to play on both sides of the court against us. Kofi would not be able to run the floor like I ran the floor. He would be hogging ass getting up and down the floor. Io was a stud. Io, he showed he was a big shot guy. But if that's all they have, again, we're coming at you with 6'6", 6'4", 6'9", 6'11", all day long.
Yep.
They are too small. They're just too small. Even though they had Kofi, and I done guarded big guys my whole life. So I understand that you got to get early contact when you're guarding somebody like Kofi. You can't let Kofi just run down the paint and then just sit in the paint.
Right.
I have to get early contact, me leaning my 250-pound frame against him all game. Like him running up and down the court, him feeling me. And then guess what? He's going to have to shoot over more than just his left shoulder. Like, I understand scouting report. I understand it. You're not shooting a jump hook over your left shoulder against me. Never. I'm going to make sure that you shoot over your right shoulder. You're going to have to show me that you can do that on a consistent basis. And then I will have to, and then we're doubling. Like, we're not going to be stupid and play you man to man. We're going to double off the other big, and it cannot be Monte. Y'all cannot play 4 guards against us. You will not be able to play 4 guards against us. Cook will have a field day. Like, we got Brian Cook down there too now.
Yeah.
Not just about me. And then we got Sergio McClain down there too. That will be, they will get destroyed on the glass. I love what Io brings to the table. I love what Kofi brings to the table. I love what Trent Frazier brings to the table. I love the fight that Monte brings to the table. And I love what Kofi brings to the table. Love it all. But at the end of the day, 6'4", 6'9", 6'11", and then we come, say I get in foul trouble. I get in foul trouble guarding Kofi. And guess who we brings in off the bench? We bring in a 7 foot, 280, Robert Archibald. And then we got the loose cannon, Lucas Johnson at 6'9". And then we got another 6'10", Demir Kapalia, who could play the 3, 4, and the 5. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. And I understand but that don't make sense.
Now, I'm telling you, that's where this year, Illini fans have a reason to be excited by this year's team, is just the overall size that they bring to the table.
I just gotta see it because it's different from somebody who played from somebody. I just have to see it. I don't know any of these guys. I haven't seen a lot of the clips that a lot of these transfers are coming in because of the transfer portal. I don't pay that much attention because, especially in this day and age, to the transfer portal, the players coming in. I need to wait till you actually get to the school because it changes so quickly.
I agree.
In this era. So when I start to see them and then I get down there, hopefully I can watch a couple practices and then I can, because it's different practicing in the Big Ten. It's a little different going up against that Big Ten strength every single day than what I see clips of you killing somebody in a league that maybe you was the best player in and you probably the 25th best player in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And so I just need to see it. I'm not saying these players are not good. The coaching staff at Illinois, they do a great job. Coach, he does a great job in recruiting. So I just can't wait to see him in practice.
Yeah, I think
I know they're getting after it this summer.
Yeah, this team, you've got Kylan Boswell at 6'2". Let's say he goes out of the game to get a blow. Yakusionis at 6'6", who can play point guard. You got Will Riley, the freshman, at 6'8", who can play guard. You got Trey White, 6'7", Ty Rogers, 6'6". Those guys can all play on the wing. And then you've got Rickhouse at 6'9" to 6'10", Ivisic at 7'1", and then Morez at 6'9" and maybe 6'10", and Kerry Booth at 6'10". For the first time in a long time, it seems like they've got a little bit of what you guys had, which is positional size at pretty much every position, depending on what lineup they want to use, obviously.
To be honest, it looks like they tried to copy off what UConn did. UConn has been very successful. The UConn men is having long perimeter players. They done won back-to-back national championships. And Illinois was like, okay, if we can get some athletes interchangeable, we could get a point guard, we could get a 2-3 that can just guard and knock down shots, attack the basket, we could have a chance. And then you have a couple of rim protectors. Now you got something. Yeah. Now you got something, because in the Big Ten, you got to have some size. You got to be able to rebound. You got to be able to not just block shots, but change the trajectory of shots. Because I wasn't just blocking shots. I made people, they thought that I was coming. And that's everything. If you could change that, just because you got some length, got some long arms, that's going to help them a lot in the Big Ten. And I can't wait. I can't wait to get down there and see them in practice.
Yeah, this team, I think, is going to have that type of physical nature that you don't see it very often. We may be back to the future here. And especially with guys who are out on the wings, you've had to deal with this, but it's a lot different closing out on a 6'6" guy on the wing versus the 6'1" guy, you know?
Yes, it is. Because, it's just, I love the fact what coach has done. Like, he went back to a little bit of the old school, but it's the old school, but it's the new era now. You got to be long. You got to be able to interchange. You can't just not have one person being able to play just one position anymore. Most people on their team, like the 1, 2, and 3, like Boz, the Champaign kid, he could play the 2, he could play the 3, just depending on the lineup.
Yep.
And so that's what I think you need, a lot of that interchangeable positions in today's college basketball. Especially in the NBA, you can have LeBron James at the 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe the 5, just depending on the matchup.
Right. Now, the question I have for you, you obviously played. You've been an avid Illini fan your whole life. You got to pick one player to be Mr. Illini, the best basketball player to come out of the Fighting Illini program in your memory. I have it down to two guys that I go back and forth on, but who would you pick? Like the one guy to be the best Illini player,
The best Illini player.
and there's some dang good players to consider.
Okay, so if there was a statue, I feel like this gentleman should have a statue outside the Staples Center. Like, if there was a bucket that you needed to get, he is the bucket getter of bucket getters. Mr. Dion, like,
Yeah.
that's like, if there's a godfather of Illini basketball, it's him. Like, and even though he was a great player, he's a better human being. Like, he is a great, great man. And so, but if you, Dion is one, but also if I just wanted to look at the face and not necessarily the best player, but then I can't go wrong with D Brown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was the face of college basketball. Like, not just, I don't think, he's a great player for Illinois, but I know there's players better than D, but just the face and the impact of what he did, like the one-man fast break, like I can remember all in 05, it was for the Final Four, it was D here, D here, D here, D here. Like, if NIL was around then, oh my Lord,
Yeah,
he would have made a killing. But those two, and it's not just because of what they did on the basketball, it was just their impact.
Right.
I think D, his impact on the basketball, but I think D Brown, his impact in college sports that year.
Okay, that's fair enough. When it just
Who's
comes
your
to,
two?
well, it comes to pure players, I just don't know if I can go anybody over Nick Anderson.
Ooh,
Now,
you can't go wrong there.
Part of that's my generation because he's roughly the same age as I am.
Yeah.
And then the other one, again, I'm dating myself, but it's between two guys, Darren Williams, and then you got Derek Harper. And Harper was the first guy. We talked about this a little bit. He came in from Fort Myers Beach, and Derek was amazing. Of course, he went pro early, so we didn't get to see the full 4 years. And then Darren Williams, of course, amazing. And again, there's so many you could choose from, though. D Brown was kind of like The Rock in wrestling. D Brown has an ability that you probably have seen an occasional salesperson who has this, but when he meets somebody, he turns on that smile, and the individual that he's talking to thinks that the only reason he got up today was to talk to that person.
His charm, like
yes.
his charm, his charisma, like he could have been a professional wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just some people have that it. And like I have personality. I have personality.
Yes,
like
yes, you do.
Only a small number of people know that I have personality. You got to get me, but you know. But
yes.
But I didn't have the it.
Yeah.
D has the personality, and then he has that it factor that somebody like The Rock has the it factor.
Yes.
He's a star, but it's something different when he walks into the room. And the same for D. For D.
D owns a room just by walking into it.
Yep.
And you can't teach that. You either have that or you don't. And very few people have it. Yep. I think it's going to be a great season. We're really looking forward to it. The last thing we do before we get done here is talk about some of the bonds that you have made as an Illini basketball player and how those things last a lifetime. And that because you guys are like a group within a group. Illinois basketball, the guys who've competed there the last 50 years, it's kind of like being in the Justice League or something like that, right?
It's a very tight, it's very tight. It's a tight bunch. Like, you think it's big, it's a lot of guys, but it's really not. It's really a small group of people that you call, that you're your brothers, that you bond with, that you have been through the wars, because not a lot of people understand like how much time you actually spend with each other, because you don't get a lot of time off at that level. Like your life is to be an Illinois basketball player or D1 athlete. That is your life. You get maybe 2 weeks out of the year, 3 weeks out of the year, and that's even in the off season. When you lose in the NCAA tournament, you might take a week or two off, and guess what? Coach Flesh gonna have you in the weight room.
Yep.
And so it's just about, and then continuing to be there for each other, because it's just not about basketball. It's off the court too, hanging out with each other, being in each other's lives, going to each other's houses for holidays. Because I can remember my family coming down, cooking meals and everything, and having some of the players come and eat. So just doing those type of things, man, and those memories last you a lifetime.
That's perfect. Anything that you thought I'd ask you that I didn't, or anything you want to get out before we wrap this puppy up?
Hey, man, I appreciate you bringing me on again. We need to, if you really want to start some stuff, you need to get me, D, Kenny, and Serge and Champaign on the panel and have a conversation.
Yes. Yes.
Like, get us all down there. I know my man, my brother, Mr. Frank Williams, is taking his rightful spot in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And so I'm pretty sure they're going to do something down there, and it could be an opportunity that you could get us all down there. And I'm just saying, I think that will be a great show to listen to.
I agree, because anybody who was there that night when we had different generations going toe to toe on who was better. The funny thing is I could go back and think about all the time that I spent as a fan watching those teams. That's the beauty of Illinois basketball. The fans bond with you guys for a lifetime. You probably got people telling you how much they enjoyed watching this game or that game.
I tried to be nice. I tried to be respectful, because you just never know the impact that you have on somebody's life. Like, I've met so many people, like 30 years ago was like, Marcus, I started watching basketball when I became an Illini fan when y'all went to Illinois. Like, your whole life was my basketball journey. And just hearing those stories is just, it baffles me from time to time. It puts me in such a humble mood, because I don't feel like I did anything special. I swear, like, if you know me, all I did was put a ball in the rim. I don't think it was anything else but just the impact on you putting that ball in the rim, the joy that we gave so many people during I would say that 20-year window between us, and you count the 20 years that from 96 to 20 years later, my brain is not working right now, but I felt like the talent that we put on that court at Illinois, the people that came to that school, was probably the best run outside of they starting to put together a nice run now. Coach is starting to do it, and I think he's going to continue as long as he wants to continue. But yeah, it's going to be special. It's going to be special. I think I got them a top 4 seed this year in the Big Ten. It's going to be rough, but now you get I think you get UCLA or Oregon in the Big Ten this year.
UCLA, Oregon, Washington, and USC. Those Midwest teams.
Hey, now that everybody has a private plane, it's going to be easy to get to the games. And I just can't wait to see USC, UCLA, and Champaign.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait for that.
And trust me, we got Brad Sturdy, who's volunteered. He's volunteered to go out and cover all the games in LA for Illini guys. And I'm like, Brad, that's not really the hardest thing in the world, but he's willing to make that sacrifice in the wintertime.
I'm pretty sure nobody had to twist his arm to go out to LA in the wintertime.
I will say that when you're talking about, you're just making some baskets. I think about what it's like, though, to show up at Carver Hawkeye Arena and people are screaming and yelling at you, and you got another team that's trying to stop you. Then all of a sudden making those baskets, that seems like a pretty big deal when you're out there.
You don't even hear the people screaming at you, because I hate to say this, but the easy mind can hear that. I never paid it. I could never, like, you be so focused into the game. Like, did you ever see it was a clip that Chris Rock was sitting next to Kobe Bryant on the bench.
Yeah.
And he was talking, and Kobe was so focused on the game. Kobe probably did not hear not a word, and he was right next to him. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Like, somebody could be right there yelling at you, but if you on your square how you supposed to be, you're not paying him no mind. You're in that game. You're in that moment. You're not paying attention to anybody off the court. Now, when you get sitting on the sideline or after the game, oh, you probably could hear something in. But when you in the trenches, you're not paying no attention.
I appreciate having you come on. We got to do this a little more often.
Oh, I'm always here.
And of course, we will have other Illini legends on as well as
Sir.
We're excited. It's going to be a heck of a football season and maybe even a super incredible basketball season. It'd be nice to do back-to-back Elite Eights or better.
Hey, I don't even want to talk about it right now, man. That'll be something special.
Yes,
because it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. Back-to-back Elite Eights. It hasn't happened. So, yes,
we're all ready for that to happen now, and it would be a lot of fun. It would be very good for the Illini basketball program because my generation, we grew up just assuming Illinois was going to be, at that level. Then your generation continued that.
Yep. We didn't have tough times.
Then we had that bump in the road there the last few years of Coach Weber and then the whole Gross era. And then Coach Underwood had to get that Porsche out of the ditch. And
it was down there. He had to get his style. He had to let everybody know it's an everyday process. I need everyday guys. Like, I don't need you just trying to show up during game time. I need you to show up every day in practice, every single day, because that's where you getting better. That's why these guys right now are trying to win a Big Ten championship and trying to get to another Elite Eight. It's starting right now. It started probably 8 weeks ago when these guys got back down on campus and Coach Fletch got with them. It was like, this is the program that we finna set aside for the summer. We finna clang and bang in this weight room, and then we're going to let y'all hoop and get after each other. Then it's starting. And now we're just going to see the work on the basketball court when the season starts. But now is where it started.
Yeah, that's well said. Well, folks, that was Marcus Griffin, and certainly one of the Illini legends and one of the guys who created the program that's here today. That was a fun interview and a lot of stuff to listen to. We will be back later in this week. Until then, go Illini.